Welcome back. Today we're going to go in a little bit different of a direction here. I just finished up an order for Tim in Pennsylvania. He's heading up to Alaska and got me into a couple of different patterns that I wasn't really familiar with. So when I was doing my research on them, I kind of got lost in a rabbit hole and looked at some of the other salmon and steelhead flies that are out there, and to be completely honest, that's a world that's kind of foreign to me. I did a little bit of steelhead fishing back in Pennsylvania, but they were on Lake Erie tributaries, and they weren't really big streams, nothing like you see out here in the West, where it's more of a swing game. And man, there's some really interesting patterns out there, and we'll probably touch on a couple of those over the next couple of weeks, and then again later in the future as I get a little bit more educated on them. I would like, there is some really cool looking stuff out there, and a lot of a big range and a big variety of colors. For the trout stuff, we do a lot of your olives, your tans, black, white, yellow. Orange is probably the most extreme that we'll get, and there's some shades that we get into, but there's everything out there on this stuff. I mean, and some of the flies are just beautiful too. So we're going to highlight a couple of them. So a long introduction to say that we're going to tie a Morrish Medusa today. This was one of the ones that Tim wanted, and one of the ones that I was really drawn to, just the way that it's constructed and the way that it's you can see it's going to have a good profile and a good swim to it. So we're going to go ahead and do that one today. And to start on that, we're just going to use a Gamakatsu B10S. This is a size 4 that we're going to use for a stinger hook. And then we're going to take some spider wire. It's just 30-pound spider wire here. And then I'm going to double that over. So no materials on the back hook, it's strictly a stinger. And let me see if I can squeeze that down through there. It's wanting to spin on me a good bit. There we go. So make sure that your wire or your thread is running parallel, and then I'm going to loop that. So the loop is coming from the bottom right there. From the bottom, from the top, I really don't think it makes a huge difference. Obviously, if you want your loop to be on the top, feed the wire up through feed your braid up through the bottom, and then the loop will catch on the top portion of the hook instead of below like it does on mine. So we'll take that out of the vise, and then we're going to go into just a standard salmon hook. I think this is a size 4, yeah. So it's a T10 6H from Gamakatsu. And get that in the package right there. That's just your standard salmon hook. And then what we're going to do is start our thread, which is going to be gel spun 100. And before I go and do that, I just want to close the loop on this right here. Get a couple of good wraps in through there, build up a quick thread base, and then I want to throw in some lead eyes. And these are just medium yellow lead eyes. And then get that tied into place, get it secure, get a couple of wraps just around the eye, throw everything in here, and then we'll spin that around so my eye's now on the bottom, and we'll touch that with just a bit of zap. If you want to, you can use a shank on this. I'm not too certain on the regulations for Alaska. I think it's single hook up there, if I'm not mistaken. When you do articulate it, I think it's single hook, but I'm not sure. When I tied Tim's, I just put these on shanks here instead of cutting this back or this front hook off. So make sure that my eyes are nice and even. And then I'm just going to take and run this just to secure my eyes up a little bit more. There we go. Now I want to go back to just between the point and the barb of the hook, right as that starts to make its ascent downward on that back portion. And then I'm going to go and tie this in. So I'm leaving about an inch on that back stinger hook where it's just going to be wire, or wire, your connecting material, whatever you're using. You could use braided wire or steel if you would like to. I kind of like the way that the spider wire goes. I mean, you don't have any material on that back hook, so it doesn't really need to stay in that perpendicular orientation like your typical, like if you're tying, say, a boogie or a dungeon or whatever it is. Obviously you have flank feathers on the back and you have things constructed on that back hook a certain way to where you want it to ride the same as the front hook rides. With this one, we don't really have to worry about that too awful much because there's no, it's just a stinger hook. Its only design, its only function is to hook fish. So we don't have to worry about it staying in the same plane as our front hook. So now I just want to take this down through there. I'm going to run this back through, or I'm going to run that through the eye of my hook, take my thread all the way up to the front, and then just secure this a little bit more by running that underneath the eye. And we're all set. That one got me. That one got me. Alright, so now we're on to tying in the actual materials here. We've got our stinger set up in the back, and we're going to start with some red Krystal flash. Now for this, we're going to take this probably about a half a dozen strands of Krystal flash. I'm just going to grab a bunch out of the mix here and see what we got. I got 2. That ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work. Alright, somewhere around a half dozen strands. And then I just want to double this over. And then run this straight back, creating a little skirt right there, and I want it going to that back hook. With that back hook, there we go, and a couple of them that wanted to fight me. And then I'm just going to double that over one more time. Tie that off, and then we'll cut this right there. And there you can see we have a nice section of red Krystal flash on there, and I really need to be mindful of that hook back there because, as you saw once already, it stuck me. I stuck myself quite a few times doing that order. And then we're going to make a quick dubbing loop. Whatever material you want to use here, if you want to go with a chenille, if you want to go with some staz, however you want to go about it is fine. I'm just going with some Antron dubbing in orange. I'm just going to throw this in a quick loop. And spin that up real quick. Everything looks pretty good there. Now I'm just going to take and run that up, about halfway. We could probably even go a little bit further. We'll just run the rest of that out. We'll just run the rest of that out. I'll just spin that by hand. Get those extra 2 wraps on there. It's not going to hurt anything. And then we'll tie that portion off. And one thing that I just realized that I'm missing is going to be some lateral lines. Excuse me, Maddie. Good girl. Grab that, set that off to the side. So now we have our body material in there. It's nice and picked out. You can see how that's looking right there. Nice clean picked out body. And then we're going to go into some pink rabbit strips. And this is just a standard pink, well, fluorescent pink, standard size. It's not the mags or anything like that. And then I want us to measure this out, and I want that rabbit going back just a little bit further than my Krystal flash. So I'm going to take and trim that off. And then we'll go 1 notch that way, and then 1 notch this way. And then just a quick couple of wraps to secure that in place. And then that's covering up our trailer section right there. So we have the pink over the orange and red. And then we're going to go back into some orange with both some ostrich and then lateral lines from a Grizzly saddle. So I want 3 on each side, 3 or 4. I got 3 there. One's a little bit on the short side. There we go. We've got 3 even in length right here. So now I just want to take and run that back. It's going to run 3/4 of the way back the rabbit strip, and then we're going to go and secure that into place. I want to take and trim that then. And then those are facing more on the upward slant than anything, and then we're going to have our lateral lines below them. So I've got, well, my eyes are playing tricks on me here. There's all sorts of them in that one. There's 3 on the stem, but then they split up at the top. Oh well, I'm gonna set it in right like it is. That's strange. I'll pick them out after I get them tied in, if I really am stuck with having, or if I'm set with having 3 on each side. Yeah, that's strange. I'd never seen that before. We'll take that one and then we'll call that good. There we go. So now we have those running down. And then we're going to go into some Grizzly saddle here. This is an orange Grizzly, which I need to pick out here. Not well prepared for this one. What else is new? What else is new? Alright, so we're going to measure this out. Those are 2 nice even pieces right there. I want to measure this out. Same thing, about 3/4 of the way back the rabbit. Maybe a little bit further than the 3/4 point. And then I'm just going to set those in. Get 1 on each side. And like I said, running laterally. Get that secured into place. Same thing on the other side. That one looked like it wanted to roll on me just a touch. And then we'll get this one going on the opposite side. Get a quick spin on that. and then secure everything in place. I'm going to catch those stems in front of the eyes. Everything's looking good right there. And that one did kind of roll slightly, so there we go. That looks better. That looks better. All right, so we have our lateral lines in, and now we're going to go with a pink. This is once again fluorescent pink. We're going to palmer in a piece of Marabou here. That one looks pretty good. Get that off to the side. Just peel this back and then we'll get that tied in. 2 to 3 wraps really is all the more that you're looking for. You don't want it real thick, you just want some coverage in here, and it's going to add some depth to the fly as well, because you'll have those multiple colors showing through. Dang, hot out here today. Hot out here. Alright, there's that. Now I need my Hackle pliers. Wherever I put them, this pair will work. Alright. Found that stinger again. Alright, and then like I said, just 2 to 3 wraps. There's one full one right there. I'm going to get one more in, and I think that's going to be about all I'll need. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So there we're adding a little bit of motion with the Marabou, and then also some depth with the multiple colors in there. And then we'll trim that off, get that out of the way, and kind of smooth everything out on this section. And then we're going to get some pectoral fins in there. We've got 2 more materials to tie in, and this fly will be complete. So these are, let me see here, I'm going to have to find something. These are just some Guinea hackle feathers here. I'm just going to set them all out on the side, find a good match. Those 2 look pretty close, not exactly what I want. There's 2 pretty good ones. They're pretty close. For what I have here, that's about as close as they're going to get. So like I was saying, these are going to be the pectoral fins. Let me get them out of the way so they're not distracting in the background. And then I want to take just a section about like that. Open that stem up. And then I'm actually going to flip this to where the curved section, and I'll explain it better when I do the next one. The curved section is going to be pushing out. So you can see that curve right there. When I tie it in, I'm actually tying it like that, so that pectoral fin comes out slightly. It's really not a huge difference on the color. As you can see, there's the package side versus the doll side, is I guess how you would put it. There's not a huge difference, so I like that it kicks that fin out a little bit more, so I tie them in this way. But if you want to go the opposite, by all means, not going to make a huge difference. So there we go. We're just about finished with this fly. Last thing we're going to do is create another dubbing loop, and we're going to get some purple rabbit strips, and we're going to put that in our loop, and then that's going to create the head, and that'll finish this fly off. So we'll go ahead and half hitch, and then we're going to go in. This is some bright purple, and this really finishes this fly off nicely. Just the color combination on this, like I said, some of the colors that they have for their patterns for Steelhead and Salmon, they really catch the eye. Fun to tie too. So I'm going to get as much of that in this material clamp as I can. Cut that off of the hide. And then I'll work that material to where I can catch it in my loop a little bit easier. And then I'll set that right in, catch that with the clamp, or catch that with my loop, and then push that, even that up to where it's right at the very end. So now I'll take and just do a quick spin on this. Same thing, and then one more just to fill that out and really bring that in clean together. So now I want to take and go right around. So I did a figure 8 around those eyes and then finished up with one wrap right in front of the eye. So it's one wrap behind, figure 8 in between the eyes to get good coverage. Drop your dubbing loop tool, and then one wrap right in the front. Oh, come on now. Now we'll just take and whip finish this one, and we will color up our thread, and that's going to be a completed fly. Let's see here what black thread will do. Just take that right in, color up that section right there, and you have a completed Morrish Medusa. Very cool pattern to tie. I really enjoyed doing these. Kind of a break from the norm, from just cranking out one after another of the same flies over and over, and that kind of breaks it up a little bit. It's kind of nice to do something a little bit different, and that's definitely out of the norm for a trout fisherman, for sure. But like I said, I want to get into a couple more of these. There's some really cool stuff out there, and as I do some more research and some R&D on this steelhead and salmon game, maybe we'll get a couple more videos up there. But if you guys have any suggestions, shoot them to me. If you have patterns that you really like, let me know. I'd like to get some videos up there or some different stuff. But that'll finish this one out. We'll give that one more quick spin, and we will shut off the cameras and get on with this one. So there we go. Could probably trim that down just a little bit. I like the way that it sits. So anyhow, that's wrapping this one up. Thanks as always, guys. We'll catch you next Wednesday.